illegally held. A strong message from the courts. Decades in jail for a man who stalked a Perth doctor before an axe attack. Also tonight, a dramatic naked arrest on a Virgin flight over Perth. And big names with big salaries arrive in Perth ahead of an Italian blockbuster at Optus Stadium.
This is 7 News with Rick Arden, live from Parliament House.
Good evening. We're broadcasting live from State Parliament tonight for what could be a critical moment of change on violence against women. There's now more pressure than ever on our lawmakers after one of the most harrowing interviews I've seen in my 4 decades delivering the news to Perth. They are the words from the Floreat murderer's daughter. She says she warned police not once, not twice, but 3 times that her father had the potential to kill and that a Glock pistol was missing from his weapons collection. In the weeks that followed, there was bloodshed. Nick Overall reports on a call for change that can't be ignored.
Breathing through unspeakable heartache. But Ariel Bombara wants her voice to be heard.
What my father did was an act of domestic violence. My mother and I made it clear that lives were at risk, and we were repeatedly ignored, repeatedly failed. These failures have cost the lives of 2 incredible women.
Her chilling interview 4 days after finding out her father is a murderer.
To know that he did what he did, distraught, is an understatement.
Mark Bombara killed 2 innocent people while hunting his ex-wife in a domestic violence nightmare. Jennifer and Gretel Patelchik shot dead for trying to protect their friend. The killer's daughter knew, in fact warned it could happen, claiming to share her fear with police 3 times. Ariel's biggest concern, his gun collection.
I specifically mentioned that there was a Glock handgun which was unaccounted for. My understanding is this ultimately would be one of the weapons that my father used to take the lives of 2 innocent women.
Ariel says she and her mother fled their home on March 28th in fear for their lives. Between March 30 and April 2nd, she says she warned police about her father and his guns 3 times. On the same day, they were escorted back to their home by police to collect their belongings.
On each occasion, I alerted officers to my father's guns and told them my mother and I felt there was a real and imminent threat to our lives.
But it still wasn't enough.
An officer said, "Oh, don't worry, we know all about the guns." And when he called for backup, he warned his fellow officers to wear bulletproof vests.
Protection for police, but nothing for women living in fear.
We were ignored by 5 different male officers across 3 occasions of reporting. By that point, we felt completely helpless, and I had to focus on getting Mum to safety.
They asked for help.
If we would be able to take out a 72-hour temporary protective order. We were told no, and that there was nothing police could do about the situation at the time.
The circumstances would not have met the threshold of a 72-hour police order.
7 weeks later, her father used that missing pistol to commit the bloodshed that's now drawn Australia's domestic violence crisis to attention.
I felt like we had been so failed by the system. I naively thought that they were going to help us. Very, very disappointed. Especially now, we are devastated. This is devastating.
With or without a gun, Ariel believes her father was capable and intent on killing. What her family, grieving friends and all of WA wants to know now is whether he could have been stopped and how to stop it from happening again.
We need to start listening to women. Nothing will ever change if all of these men in Parliament are talking about, oh, well, let's reduce the number of guns they can have to 5. You know, like he wouldn't have murdered her with a different gun. I'm angry. I did everything I could to protect my mother, and when my father couldn't find us, he murdered her best friend and her best friend's daughter.
Her courage to speak out could be what finally triggers change that's desperately needed.
They were his actions and his alone. However, there are authorities who should have helped us to stop him, and they failed. I want answers now. And now is the time for Australia to come together and actually do something about this.
Nick Overall is live in Floreat tonight. Nick, Ariel Bombara also had a message for the sole surviving member of the Patelchik family.
Rick, Ariel has shared some heartfelt words for Liesl and the unimaginable grief she's dealing with. Just a few years ago, the 23-year-old lost her father. She's now dealing with losing her mother and her younger sister, her entire family taken from her.
I'd like to start by saying how truly, deeply sorry I am to Liesl Patelchik for the loss of her beautiful mother Jenny and her sister Gretel. Losses she has suffered at the hands of my father's violence.
Two incredibly brave women who lost their lives just trying to help a friend who was fearing for hers. Tonight, here in Floreat, the tributes continue to pour out. Rick.
Thanks, Nick. The killer's daughter says she felt scared and helpless, ignored by police against the threat of an enraged man armed with 13 guns. The police commissioner is suffering from COVID but left home to hold a news conference. He's vowed the criticism aimed at his force will be investigated and acted on.
5. That's how many male police officers Ariel Bombara says ignored her when she told them she feared that her father would kill.
Nobody actually listened to us and our reports.
Today, the police commissioner heard her loud and clear and confirmed an internal investigation is now underway. Every interaction with the Bombara family now under the microscope. Body-worn camera video will be reviewed, transcripts of police phone calls too.
Any discussion or decision making by the police, again on any 3 of those occasions that Ariel has spoken about, we would have captured on body-worn video. We also would have made notes at the time in relation to the reasons why police make decisions.
One of those decisions, not to grant the women a 72-hour protection order, despite their claims they told officers there was a real and imminent threat to their lives.
The information that the police had on the night, I believe that was around the 28th of March, the circumstances would not have met the threshold of a 72-hour police order.
Why, Cole Blanche today wouldn't say, or whether he wants that threshold changed. And we still don't know why the guns weren't removed when domestic violence was reported. Police have that discretion, though their decisions can be appealed.
There was a family violence incident report submitted. So it did, I know there are suggestions that we did not act. We did act.
But whether they did enough is now the subject of a new investigation, the results to be provided to the coroner.
Where did that information report go? Who did it go to, and what actions were then taken?
The Corruption and Crime Commission also has the power to investigate if it chooses.
What Ariel is saying in her statement is why I have commenced an investigation to determine the actions by those police officers. I'm not going to make any conclusions at this point until I have that information. I think that's fair on the officers, and I think it's fair on the community. It is a scourge of our community. It harms women at records that we have never seen before. It's a disgusting part of what we live in as a Western society.
Jerry Damasi is live at police headquarters tonight. Jerry, you're in touch with sources inside the police force. What's the fallout tonight?
Rick, I've worked closely with police officers throughout my career, and they deal with massive volumes of domestic violence on the daily beat. They are completely exasperated by it, and they want a solution just as much as the community does. It is now up to their hierarchy and government to put protocols in place to protect women. An effective domestic violence strategy begins with listening to victims, seeing the warning signs, hearing the pleas for help. The community will agree it is always better to be safe than sorry when you are talking about people's lives. The system has failed Ariel Bombara, it has failed Jennifer and Gretel Patelchek, and it is failing women right now as we go to air. Rick.
Thanks, Jerry. In the outpouring of grief and blame, the government is butting heads with the opposition over what to do about guns. It's being debated tonight inside the Legislative Council behind us, where the government holds a decisive majority. Labor wants a quick result, but the opposition is taking a stand.
One thing is crystal clear. The gun reforms that are trickling through the Legislative Council wouldn't have stopped Mark Bombara's killing spree. His daughter Ariel knows that.
Absolutely not. Whilst I think gun reforms need to be made, they would not have made a difference. Men will kill regardless of what weapon they use. If they want to, they will find a way.
The purpose of the changes to the Firearms Act framed months ago is to cap the number of firearms recreational shooters can own to 5, not 0, 5. And pistol licences will be harder to get.
Less guns in the community leads to less incidents related to guns.
Farmers and competition shooters will be able to own 10 firearms.
In excess of 95% of gun owners do not have 5 or 10. They do not reach those limits.
Mark Bombara owned 13 licensed firearms. 2 of them were pistols, which he took to Floreat in the hunt for his wife.
This piece of legislation would not have prevented what occurred over the weekend. If Mr Papalia and Mr Cook want to know where the problems lie with regard to this piece of legislation, very simple. Go and look in the mirror.
The Liberal Party has deep reservations about the bill in its present form and wants it delayed for a couple of months so a parliamentary committee can review it.
Obviously, no piece of legislation is perfect, no bill is perfect. We know that. I'm sure the government would know that.
But when push came to shove, the government had the numbers.
All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those to the contrary say no. No. I believe the noes have it.
If the gun law changes pass Parliament, and they will, the Nationals have vowed to rescind them. But they'll be the junior partner in a future coalition government.
I can only speak for the party room. The Liberal Party room has a position. Our position is not to oppose the bill, and that has not changed and it won't change.
Jeff Parry joins me live now here on the steps of Parliament. Jeff, if the Liberals don't oppose the bill, why don't they just vote for it?
Well, they do intend to, but they're worried about the process, Rick. They object to the government steamrolling this legislation through the upper house. They say there's a proper way of doing things, and that includes, as we saw, that failed attempt to refer it off to a legislative committee. That would have delayed it by a couple of months. The government is having none of it. They want this legislation passed. They have the power to stop debates, called applying the guillotine, and force a vote, which they will this week or next.
OK, thank you, Jeff. What you've seen so far tonight was just part of the interview with Ariel and Bombara. It's a statement ringing in the ears of every politician, every police officer, and now everyone in the WA community. Coming up at 6:25, we'll show you the statement in full. And if anyone watching tonight needs help, please reach out. The WA Women's Domestic Violence Helpline operates 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's a free call, 1800 007 339. But if you're in immediate danger, always call 000. Next in 7 News, expert advice. We meet the security team flying from interstate to protect Perth victims. And later this hour, a super tsunami who's set to drain billions of dollars from nest egg accounts. Plus good news for women's health, making access to the pill easier. And the link between tattoos and cancer.